Hey Melody, let's take a look at your week 1 assignment 3. Just going to get some feedback in before the due date. One is when you're looking at these in the thread, if you get in early and you want me to make some comments on it, post it under the draft thread. Just respond under the draft thread. This keeps it out of the final thread, and I don't get any confusion in terms of which one is your final. The other thing is that if it's close to the due date, a lot of the times I just leave it under the final thread under the assumption that it's your final. So if it's in the draft thread, I know you want feedback on it if you get in early enough, and then we don't have any questions. These do look very good overall. The top ones I think work a little better for me in that you've got great fill consistency on your side to side with the color one, and the blind is working out pretty well on the other side. You do have a lot of white gaps, which you'll want to keep an eye on and just try to minimize as you work through these assignments. I think little ones are fine, these little kind of spots here and there, but if you get these big kind of gaps that run the full length of the stroke, those are things that you want to try to minimize. So you just have to be a little bit more generous in the overlapping that you do of the stroke. I'd much rather see overlap of stroke than white gaps. So you can see that you have a lot of kind of overlapping here, but at this distance you don't notice it nearly as much as you notice the white that shows up. So it's just kind of a balance that you have to do. There's also some weird kind of coloring going on where it gets darker on one side here and here, and I almost feel like that's the scanner issue or a photo issue than it is anything else. But you want to try to get a good kind of clean scan or photo without any of those types of things that might affect the way that we view the work. The bottom ones, I think they both follow through with the technique. I think the side-to-side one, we're seeing some really inconsistent coverage though down at the bottom, and it almost feels like your gray is running out of ink, but I think it just might need more coverage. You might need to lay in more of the marker to saturate it fully. The triangles look very good. They're nice and smooth and even, but the rectangles behind them feel a little bit too inconsistent and just not enough in there. The blind is good, and I love the fact that you're going all the way across in one single stroke, which is very difficult to do, and I thought you did a great job of maintaining consistency with that one. Edge also looks very good overall. I think you will need to pick up a few more grays if you don't have them available, and I'd almost like to see a little bit more variation going on here, where maybe one of the triangles is a very, very dark gray, like an 80% gray. Maybe you use a 60% gray for another triangle, and then use a 40 or a 20% gray for the rectangles. But you just have two grays in place, and that really limits the variety in this assignment, and it'll really limit what you can do in terms of shading as you move into future assignments. So that's something that if you don't have them, pick them up as soon as you can, because they end up being kind of a lifesaver. So if you want to make some redos or touching things up, that's fine. If you just want to go at this again, I think that's always the best way, because there can be fairly quick if you play your cards right, and you get that extra experience of doing the assignment from scratch. But it's a good start, and it definitely is showing some improvement, even I think from the last assignment we saw.